Councillors come in as the representatives for the people.
Yeah.
So they're voted into that position, and they're there to ensure that no impropriety goes on. The officers that are employed by the council should be the professional people. No way.
Like the CEO of the council.
Sort of meander down from that. But there'll be professionals in every single area that are employed to do that job. I'm going to use a word that I should never use, but there's a cancer within all government contracts and all government fields. And we know for a fact that government contracts normally are 2 to 3 times X what it should be in the normal standard sort of business world. And that's a fact. The problem is the councillors who are in that position, voted into that power, don't have the understanding and will caveat out those decisions to the officers who are in that mire of acceptability, because that's how it's ran and has been for many years. You can transcend that onto the people of the city. People in the city will say, oh, corruption goes on all over the world.
Isn't it just part of the system? Isn't the system itself corrupt?
Yeah, and I would agree with that. But, you know, I do think Liverpool, Pool of Life, is the position and the place to start anew, to turn this corrupt, broken system upside down and start again, to not keep on going on about that trickle-down politics, but to go on bottom-up politics. We ensure that we look after the most vulnerable first. People who need to live in heated accommodation with food, without the need to beg, without the need to go out on the streets. Liverpool should be the first place and could be the first place. And isn't it strange that the timing has come to now where Labour Party are probably at its weakest based on its actions. It clearly hasn't put anything in place to stop the thought of fraud and corruption, because that mechanism, as we said before, is still there, has been removed. And I think if Keir Starmer has let down the city, is he didn't come in and take anyone's knees that lived underneath that table of Joe Anderson away.
They've got to show that, at least make an effort to show that they're trying to clean it up rather than push it off into the distance and hope people just forget about it. I mean, because that confirms the allegations, doesn't it?
So that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
The more they find, the bigger the trough.
Yeah. Corruption, we've got the cover-up, we've got the move to disband the mayor's office as a defensive action to prevent independents coming in to actually clean up Liverpool's political system.
Yeah.
And they block that angle now, which makes it more difficult for independents to challenge Labour's monopoly over local politics. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. So what if you know, we are to bring about political change in Liverpool? What are your ideas on how that is possible from, you know, an election point of view? How do you unseat Labour?
You and I are the perfect example of us both feeling disenfranchised, disengaged. Our vote doesn't count.
What's the point?
What's the point? And we've carried that same view pretty much all our lives. Speaking to people like us, the 85%, the forgotten, the people who don't get involved, and letting them understand the truth of what's transpired. To let the people of the city know that our politicians voted into power by the people have been stealing the food out of our children's mouths, because 30% of our children are still born below the poverty line. And we still scream from the rooftops about the government. And yes, I'm sure the government can do more. And yes, I'm sure they're at fault on many other things. But let's not bring that into the equation. Let's just look at our local governance and what they have done. They have ensured that money and properties have gone to friendships. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to dwell on that, but it's a fact. How do we take our city from this point now forward? And the only way to do that is to get the disengaged, disenfranchised, the people who don't feel like their voice counts, to get them to be rallied together, get them off that couch and ensure that they wish to and want to vote.
But what would they vote for? Are you talking about an idea of an alternative political party to challenge Labour in an election, or challenge Labour and the Lib Dems?
Yes.
Okay.
So I believe Liverpool and the people of Liverpool, let's say there's 500,000 people. So the 85% of the 500,000 people, which is what, 425,000, can now be approached to bring a voice together based on anger on how they have been mistreated by the political powers that are in power and will be in power. in order for us to bring in a skill set based on the best of what we have and not based on the friendships of what we have, to bring about our own prosperity. So instead of us wanting to gift away our assets for naught to our friendships, which has clearly just happened, we then never sell an asset ever again. At this moment in time, we gift away assets for £1 because apparently the developer is at risk, even though in order to give it away for £1, the council and the council officers would understand exactly what that property was going to be used for. Therefore, because they're also in charge of the planning permission, they can then apply at least £20,000 in valuation to every single unit that's gained planning permission. So there's 100 units on this piece of scrap land that was sold for £1. It's then worth £2 million later on. If you follow the Nolan principles, which all councils should abide by, they have to always gain top of the pyramid best value. We have never gained best value, and we have never contracted up any issues with that developer at a later stage, i.e. you have this site, you've been given it for £1, we get you, or might have an issue, or you might have funding problems, whatever it may be, but at some point there needs to be a flag in the sand when you must deliver that site, and if you don't, we claw it back with the planning permission, and that value becomes ours, or a percentage of that becomes ours. That has never happened. That's a basic standard process within all councils. We didn't take it on board, because we've used delegated powers, which is a flimsy way to get something through council process, and not the council process which we should have adhered to.
If you enjoyed this clip, you can watch the full podcast on my YouTube channel. Either search Lawrence Easement or click the link in the bio. Thanks for watching.